This is the result of months of my market research. That was the first sentence I heard as I stepped onto the 12th floor, and it snapped the air out of my lungs. I knew that voice. Dana Whitford, my manager, confident, polished, always rehearsed, but the words she spoke, those were mine. I froze in the hallway outside the conference room, the badge around my neck suddenly feeling too heavy. My name should have been on the agenda. I was the strategist who had spent nearly 6 months pulling apart consumer patterns, running surveys, reshaping projections until the numbers made sense. But when I arrived that morning, my calendar notification had vanished, and Dana had simply said, "I'll handle the meeting today." I had assumed it was a scheduling error. I was wrong. Through the thin vertical strip of glass on the conference room door, I saw my deck on the screen, my color palette, my phrasing, even the title slide Elwood Market Penetration Study, except my name had been quietly removed. Dana stood at the head of the table, chin lifted, hands moving in the same gestures I had practiced alone in my apartment. A row of VIP clients leaned forward, nodding as if she had built the entire thing from scratch. I felt heat rising under my collar. I pulled my phone from my pocket and opened my presentation history. Scrolling quickly, every file matched what I saw on the screen. Then I noticed it. The small circle in the upper corner of the display. My avatar. My initials. My account. Dana wasn't just stealing the presentation. She was logged into my profile. My pulse hammered against my ribcage. For a moment, I stood completely still, listening to her continue with the cadence I had coached myself through for weeks. I pushed the door open. The room fell quiet. 20 eyes shifted toward me. But Dana's were the last to meet mine. She looked irritated, caught between annoyance and fear. I stepped forward until I stood beside her, my voice steady even as my hands trembled. "Are you sure that's yours?" Donna's jaw tensed. The clients shifted in their seats. Someone exhaled sharply. And just like that, everything in the room began to change. Dana let out a thin laugh, the kind she used whenever she wanted to smooth over something sharp. "Grace," she said lightly, "this is not the time. We talked about this deck yesterday. Remember I kept my eyes on her?" "No, we didn't." One of the clients, a man with a gravelly voice, glanced between us. "Is there an issue with authorship here?" Dana stepped in front of me as if I were an intern who wandered in by mistake. "No issue at all. Grace is confused. I handled the research personally. I felt something settle inside me steady. Cold. Move," I said quietly. Her smile faltered. "Grace, you are making this awkward. And you are presenting my work." I answered. A low murmur rippled down the table. An executive from strategy straightened his jacket. Dana's hand twitched at her side. She tried again. "We should discuss this outside." "No," I said. "We will address it now." I lifted my phone. Dana's eyes followed the motion, and for the first time, I saw fear tighten her posture. "Grace," she whispered, "do not do anything dramatic." I opened my account settings. I do not need drama. I need accuracy. The clients watched every movement. No one interrupted. I scrolled to the bottom of the page, my thumb hovering for a single breath. Log out of all devices. I tapped the button. The conference room screen flickered. Dana inhaled sharply. The slides vanished. Then, in a single bright flash, my avatar filled the display, my initials, my profile, my account. Dana's voice cracked. That is not supposed to. It must have auto." The client with the gravelly voice leaned back. "That looks pretty clear to me." An executive spoke next, stern and clipped. "Dana, why are you logged into Grace's account?" Dana opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Her throat bobbed, color drained from her cheeks. She looked like someone watching her own story dissolve in front of her. I stepped forward, calmer than I had felt in months. "If anyone wants clarification," I said, "I am ready to provide it." The room stayed silent, eyes fixed on Dana as she struggled to breathe evenly. The truth had already slipped into the open. They moved us into a smaller conference room. The door shut behind us with a dull click, and the tension followed us in like a shadow. A senior director, Malcolm Reeve, folded his hands on the table. "Grace, start from the beginning." I nodded. "The deck Dana presented is mine. I created every section over the past 6 months." Dana let out a brittle snort. "Grace, please. We collaborated. You know that." I turned toward her. "Then you should remember the error in the revenue forecast on slide 10. Malcolm raised an eyebrow. "Error, yes," I said. "I mislabeled one of the projections last week. I caught it at 2 in the morning and corrected it. The only version with that typo is my early draft." Dana stared at me, unblinking. I opened my laptop and projected proof. Here's the timestamp. Here's the edit trail. You can see I fixed it at 2:14 in the morning. Malcolm leaned closer. "And Dana presented the version with the typo yes." Dana shook her head. "I thought the deck was in the shared folder. I must have grabbed the wrong one." I clicked open the folder path. The file wasn't in the shared folder. It was in a private directory on my desktop. The name is right here. Elwood, Insight, Do Not, Present. Donna's mouth parted, but no words came. The IT analyst, a quiet man named Ian, cleared his throat. We checked the logs. Someone used Grace's credentials to access the file from the conference room terminal at 8:19 this morning. Someone Dana echoed, meaning it could have been anything. Ian shook his head. It was not a glitch. It was a direct login. Grace's account. Wrong password entered twice. Correct password on the 3rd try. The room went silent. Malcolm exhaled slowly. "Dana, would you like to explain how that happened?" Dana's eyes darted to me, wide and unsteady. I closed my laptop. "There is nothing confusing here. That version exists only on my machine." Malcolm nodded once, his expression hardening. "We will review every project from this quarter." The air tightened again, heavier than before. I sat alone at my desk, laptop open, fingers hovering above the keyboard. Dana had been taken to another room with HR, but her voice lingered in my ears like static. I opened my old project folders, ones I had not touched in months, and the truth began to spill out faster than I could brace for it. I pulled up the quarterly pitch from last spring. "This phrasing," I whispered. "I wrote this." I remembered offering that exact line during a brainstorm, tossed casually between sips of burnt conference room coffee. Dana had nodded, barely, before changing the subject. A month later, she had presented an original initiative using the same wording. A coworker, Tom, walked by and paused. "Grace, everything okay?" I turned the laptop slightly. "Tom, do you remember this deck?" He leaned closer. "Of course, you built that. I told Dana it sounded like you. She never credited me." I said. He winced. "She said you helped research." That was her phrasing. I opened another deck, an earlier client proposal. The formatting quirks leapt out immediately, the narrow margins. The instinctive use of a very specific shade of blue, the bullet style I always used when I was exhausted and out of time. Tom let out a soft breath. "Grace. She has been presenting these as her own for a long time." I clicked again, pulling up a slide Dana had pitched in front of senior leadership last winter. Same flow, same data story, same odd typo I always made when I was rushing costumer instead of customer. I felt my throat tighten. I built this entire framework. Tom lowered his voice. "She never writes her own decks. Everyone knows that. We just never knew how much she was taking," I whispered. "She groomed me. She let me run numbers, run drafts, run analysis, and then stepped in only when it was polished." Tom hesitated. "Grace, You trusted her. I did, I said. I closed every file slowly, one by one, until the screen showed nothing but my reflection. I did, I repeated, softer this time, and now I finally understood what she had done with that trust. My inbox chimed. A new message from IT. I opened it and read the first line twice, steadying my breath. Grace, we confirmed the login method. It used a saved quick token from your device. I typed back immediately. When would that have been captured? Ian from IT replied within seconds. Likely when you handed your laptop to Dana for that access issue in March. I closed my eyes. I remembered it clearly. Dana standing beside my desk, smiling, saying, "Let me help you fix that. It will take only a minute." I had hesitated, then passed her my laptop. She typed quickly, too quickly. I never questioned it. My phone buzzed. A message from an internal chat someone I rarely spoke to. Jenna, the junior analyst. Grace, I am not supposed to message you during all this, but I always thought your voice was in Dana's decks. I stared at the words. My voice. Yeah, she wrote. Whenever Dana presented, it sounded like you. I mean, the way you phrase things, the tone, the rhythm. I recognized it. I typed back. Why didn't you say anything before? Because she was your manager. Jenna answered, and I figured you two worked closely. But today, when the screen showed your avatar, everything made sense. A knot loosened in my chest. Thank you. I wrote. Another message arrived instantly. If anyone asks, I will tell them what I noticed. People are talking, Grace. They know something is wrong. I inhaled slowly. The air felt different now, less suffocating, more charged. Someone had seen. Someone had recognized the work I thought was invisible. My phone vibrated again. A final message from Ian. We are continuing to track every login. You are not alone in this. I set the phone down, my pulse steady in a way it hadn't been all morning. For the first time, this did not feel like me against a closed door. People were turning toward the truth. One by one. By early afternoon, leadership sent an email instructing both Dana and me to submit separate written accounts of the morning's events. The tone was clipped, formal, unmistakably serious. I walked into a side office with my laptop and closed the door. A folder sat untouched on the desk, blank notepads, pens, the usual. I did not touch any of it. I opened my drafts, my revision history, and the work began. Donna appeared in the doorway a minute later, eyes sharp, voice tight. Grace, can we talk before we write anything? No, I said, without looking up. We will write exactly what happened. She stepped inside. You know how this looks. If we present a unified explanation, we can avoid escalation. We are not unifying anything. I replied. She folded her arms. I have worked hard to build respect here. You are angry. That is understandable, but anger clouds judgment. I am not angry, I said. I am documenting. Her jaw shifted. Document whatever you want. I will present the context. I clicked open a Slack folder. Your context will not match the timestamp on this conversation, I said. Or this revision history. Or the autosave file you opened at 8:19 this morning. She stiffened. Grace. I held up a hand. I am busy. For the next hour, I pulled everything together. Version histories showing every edit I made. Message logs where I outlined the framework. Weeks before, Dana claimed the idea. Screenshots of my drafts saved at 2 in the morning. Calendar entries marking late-night sessions. I never charged overtime for autosave recovery files from my personal laptop. The narrative wrote itself. Every thread led back to me. My folder grew thicker. Hers could only grow thinner. Donna lingered in the hallway once, watching me type, then disappeared into another room. I heard the faint sound of her pacing, the shift of heels against carpet. I kept typing. My voice had been buried under her name for too long. Now, for the first time, every piece of truth was landing exactly where it belonged. Late afternoon. Malcolm stepped out of his office and addressed both of us. "Dana, since you've stated clearly that the research is yours, you'll present the project again. This time using your own materials." Dana blinked. "My own Malcolm. The deck is all ready." He cut her off. "The file you presented was from Grace's account. Create your version. You have 15 minutes. She stared at him as if he had struck her. 15 minutes, Malcolm. That is impossible. You said the work was yours," he replied. "Build what you understand." I took a seat in the back of the conference room as Dana scrambled at the front. Her hands shook while she opened a blank slide template. The clients were brought back in quietly. No one spoke. After 15 minutes, Malcolm nodded. "Begin." Dana cleared her throat. "Thank you for rejoining us. Today I will walk you through the, market expansion forecast." One of the clients lifted a hand. "Start with your assumptions." Dana's mouth moved, but only air came out. She tried again. "Well, the assumptions vary depending on the growth." Another client leaned forward. "Which growth metric you cited 3 earlier?" Dana flushed. "The primary one." I watched her struggle to explain the regression model I had built from the ground up. She hesitated, repeated herself, flipped back to a previous slide, then forward again. A client asked, "What data set supports this projection?" Dana whispered. "The data set is extensive." Malcolm finally spoke. "Which one?" Dana's silence. Her eyes flicked toward me. I looked down at my hands, refusing to save her. She lasted only 5 minutes before the room's discomfort thickened. The gravel-voiced client closed his folder. "We would like to speak with Grace instead. She clearly understands the material." Donna's shoulders caved inward as if someone had removed the floor beneath her. Malcolm gestured toward me. "Grace, would you join us?" I stood and walked to the front of the room, past Dana, whose last thin layer of confidence had cracked wide open. The decisions arrived the next morning, delivered not with drama, but with clipped sentences and folded hands. Malcolm called us into a small meeting room, the kind used for onboarding and quiet reprimands. He looked at Dana first. "Your access to client-facing projects is suspended effective immediately." Dana's lips parted. "Suspended." "Malcolm, I have led this department for you-led presentations," he interrupted. "Not the work." She stared at him, stunned. He continued, "You will be removed from all project leadership responsibilities. Administrative tasks only, under supervision." Her voice thinned. "This is excessive." "It is proportionate," Malcolm said. "Compliance has already recorded a formal ethics violation in your file." Dana's breathing hitched. One mistake does not justify. Malcolm raised a hand. This was not one mistake. "We have reviewed the logs." Her shoulders sank, but she stayed rigid, as if refusing to fully collapse in front of us. I kept my eyes on the table, steady and silent. Malcolm closed the folder in front of him. "Facilities will relocate your desk by the front entry. You will report to the administrative coordinator for the next quarter." Dana whispered, "The front entry." He nodded. "Visibility matters." She looked at me then, eyes full of something between disbelief and accusation. "You wanted this." I met her stare. I wanted my work back. She stood abruptly. "This company will regret this decision." Malcolm responded calmly. "The only regret is that it took this long to uncover what you were doing." Dana walked out without another word, the door shutting with a muted thud. Malcolm turned to me. "Grace, you are not part of this disciplinary action. Your record remains clean." I nodded, unable to speak for a moment. When I finally stepped into the hallway, air filled my lungs fully for the first time in months. By late afternoon, Malcolm asked me to step into the executive conference room. The door shut behind us, sealing out the hum of the office. The SVP of Strategy, Eleanor Hart, waited at the table with a folder open in front of her. Eleanor gestured to the seat across from her. "Grace, thank you for coming." I sat carefully. "Of course." She folded her hands. "Before anything else, I owe you an apology. We should have recognized your contributions months ago, possibly years." My throat tightened. "I appreciate you saying that," Malcolm added. "The clients from this morning reached out directly. They were impressed by your composure and by your command of the material." Eleanor nodded. "They specifically requested to continue working with you. By name." I breathed in slowly, letting the words land. Eleanor slid the folder toward me. "This is the formal offer. We are appointing you as lead market strategist on the expansion project. You will be the primary point of contact for the clients." I looked at the documents, my name printed clearly across the top. My work, my title, my project. Malcolm leaned back slightly. "We should have given you this platform sooner." I answered softly. "I am ready for it now." Eleanor smiled faintly. "Then let us rebuild this department correctly with credit given where it is truly due." I closed the folder, steadying my breath. "Thank you for trusting me." "You earned the trust," she replied. When I stepped out of the room, my hands were steady, my heartbeat even. There was no rush of triumph, no need for celebration, just a clear, grounded sense that something long overdue had finally shifted back into place. My name was finally where it belonged. The conference room was empty when I pushed the door open. Chairs still sat angled from the chaos of the morning, but the silence was clean, steady. Mine. I walked to the table and set my laptop down. No audience, no pressure. No one standing in front of my work but me. I powered it on and whispered to myself, "Let's do this right." The login page appeared. My name, my account, my password typed by my own hands. No borrowed access. No quick login token. No shadow behind me. I connected the cable to the projector. The screen flickered, then brightened. My deck appeared, my formatting, my voice, my research, everything with my name restored at the bottom corner of the title slide. I stood there for a moment, just looking at it. Eleanor stepped into the doorway quietly. "You settling in?" I turned slightly, just making sure the room remembers whose work this is. She nodded once. "Good. It should." She stepped closer, her voice low but firm. "This department will rebuild around transparency. Your work sets that tone." I exhaled. "It feels different now." "It should," she said. "You earned your place here. And no one will overwrite your name again." I looked back at the screen. The slide glowed like it had been waiting for me. A soft knock sounded at the door. Tom leaned in. "Grace, the clients asked if you can join a prep call tomorrow morning. They want your take on the rollout timeline." I nodded. "I'll be there." He smiled before slipping out. Eleanor followed him, leaving me alone again with the quiet hum of the projector. I stepped closer to the table, placed my hand on the laptop, and whispered, "Finally." Then I advanced to the next slide, my slide, ready to move forward on my own terms, with my own name lighting the path ahead.